So I think one of the most harmful lies to enter our political environment here in the United States is that regular people are apathetic towards politics. And I believe that this is uniquely harmful because it paints far too narrow a picture of what politics is. Like, if you're talking to someone out on the street, or in a bar, or in the store, and that person tells you they don't care about politics, they only care about putting food on their family's table, that person is telling you that they care about politics. And to be clear how that works, not only has the federal government refused to give regular people the means to survive during this pandemic, but they have done so during this pandemic, which they bear some responsibility for both starting and exacerbating. And that doesn't just make whether or not you have food a political issue. That makes your material survival a political issue. And if your whole praxis is built around the idea of appealing to people who do not care whether or not they live or die, your praxis is fucked. That said, this idea of an apathetic regular person does not come from nowhere. It's very easy to speak to regular people and assume that they are just ambivalent towards politics. That's typically how people frame their feelings about politics. But, having spoken to a lot of regular people, and as often as I can, I've come to believe that people are not ambivalent towards politics. They're contemptuous of politicians. And for good reason. It isn't just that Congress has helped create and exacerbate the pandemic, or that they have refused to give people the means for survival. They have also given an unconscionable amount of money to people who already have an unconscionable amount of money, and repeatedly and gleefully ignored the will of the American people. Just a few days ago, as of my recording this video, there was this asshole named Jim Jordan from Ohio's 4th District who went up and talked about how America doesn't deserve stimulus money because they haven't been working hard enough. And no one stopped him. So this contempt that regular people have towards the people who at least ostensibly represent them is well earned. But I don't think that enough people talk about how that contempt is mutual. I feel it necessary to preface this by saying that I have only ever worked with the DNC here in Springfield, and never in any official capacity, only as a volunteer. But from my experience, the DNC, at least here in Springfield, they hate you. They think you are fat, lazy, stupid, ugly, and that you are fucking your cousins. And something that a lot of people don't understand about the DNC is that the DNC is not the Democratic Party. The DNC is a corporation, and the people who are in charge of the DNC are chosen from within that corporation. We don't have any control over who is in charge of the DNC. But the DNC has almost total control over who gets to run as a Democrat in this country. And the RNC, the Republican equivalent of the DNC, they're even worse. Like, Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan, or J.B. Pritzker, or Dick Durbin, really important Democrats, at least in this area, they'll come out to rallies or political actions if they think that it'll make them look good. Rodney Davis? Darren LaHood? They won't. I have seen Rodney Davis one time during a town hall that he attended and arranged, where he was thoroughly humiliated by the attendees. Darren LaHood, whose office is in Springfield, Illinois, I have never seen him. And to make a more important point about that, I have attended at least 50 rallies in front of Darren LaHood's office. And do you know what's come of it? Nothing. Zilch. Darren LaHood is never in his office when we are there, and he has not even acknowledged that a rally has happened. And regular people see that. They see people like me trying to use conventional means to try to sway lawmakers, see lawmakers ignoring them, and they presume, correctly, that lawmakers do not care about regular people. If regular people are apathetic towards anything regarding politics, it is conventional political means, because they can see that that doesn't work. And the really shitty thing is, I don't have a solution for this. No one has a solution for this, or it would have been fixed by now. Like, hypothetically, there are solutions to these problems. You could start a new party. You could hire lobbyists to go up to Washington and argue on your behalf. You could start your own political action committee. But all those things take money. And I don't know if you've noticed, but people don't have a lot of that right now. And there are groups like Indivisible that have been doing a lot of good in small measures. But, and I hate saying this, especially about Indivisible, it's just not enough. The last big win that regular people in this country got, the last thing that we know that people going out and advocating for changed, was keeping the ACA in place. And people got that done by getting into their elected officials' faces and screaming at the top of their lungs, by throwing rotten fruit and vegetables at them, and wads of cash, by driving senators' cars off the road. And that was just to keep in place something that no one wanted to change, not even those lawmakers. It is inconceivable how far you would have to go to get even the slightest change to the system that we have. Because lawmakers have nothing but contempt for regular people. And regular people know that. Things keep getting worse. And there are not enough people in power working to make things better. And until that changes, somehow, people will continue to suffer. So that's all I have to say about that. I am all said out. Regular links are in the description as they usually are. That's my Ko-Fi if you want to help me get my computer back to running. I still need a new CPU, still need money for a new CPU. And also for groceries. That's kind of important. My Curious Cat's there. That don't go there. I don't have any access to it right now. My Twitter's there if you want to see me goofing off on Twitter. I do a lot of goofing off on Twitter. That's mostly what I think it's for. A lot of people take Twitter way too seriously. So there were a couple of things that I wanted to mention in this bit. First off is I forgot to mention a couple of things in the video proper. The first thing is that Rodney Davis was so notorious for not showing up for anything that there was a Facebook group started called Flat Rodney's Misadventures, or Flat Rodney's Adventures. I remember it being Flat Rodney's Misadventures. They might have changed the name. What they would do is they would go to places where Rodney Davis said that he was going to be and didn't show up, or just places where he should have showed up as an elected official, and they put a cardboard cutout of Rodney Davis there. It was very entertaining. It was mildly entertaining. Like, it cemented the amount of contempt that people had for Rodney Davis, which is weird because he keeps getting reelected, right? The second thing is a line that I meant to include in the essay, but just forgot. It would actually be, in a broad sense, the thesis statement, the thing that I'm trying to get across. I'm going to read it verbatim. The people who think you are fucking your cousin are deciding who represents you. If there is anything I want the average person to take away from this video, it is that. The people who think that you are fucking your cousin are deciding who your elected representatives are. And it might be weird, it might sound weird that I keep bringing that up, using that specific line, but that's because that actually is something that was said to me. So I was watching the second Democratic debates at a watch party at a union lodge, right? It was something that was put together by the local DNC, and because I'm well known around town as an activist, well, maybe well known is a stretch, people recognize me, I was invited over Facebook. I love that red tea. There's no better tea. You had people who were there in an official capacity going around and talking to people because it was a public event. One of these people came up to me, talked to me for about 5 minutes, and told me at one point, the reason we don't have better choices for our president is because people are too busy fucking their cousins to go out and vote. I don't know why this person said this to me. I don't know why this person felt comfortable telling me this. I'm never going to forget it, and I hope you don't forget it either. There's also another thing. This wasn't the video that I intended to make, and that's why this took a little bit longer to make. Like, I'm writing all of these scripts out by hand. I don't know how well you can tell. This is actually my handwriting. That's why this was propped up. I was referring to this while I was making the video. And this isn't the video that I intended to make today. I was going to make a video about, what was the video I was going to make today? Is America a Christian nation? I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket. That's a good topic. What had happened is that an org tried to get in touch with me on Twitter, right? And tried to get me to go into their fold. And as they were explaining what their game plan was, I became so furious that I needed to respond to them. Their bullshit made me mad. Their bullshit made me so mad. And I'm going to send this video to the person who tried to bring me into their org. I'm not going to mention who they are because that would be bad form. But I want that person, and moreover that org, to know that if you haven't quite gotten the point yet, I don't want to join your org because your praxis is fucked. Oh man, I'm getting tired. So, tomorrow's video, I want to make a video. I told Lance of the Surfs that I was going to make a video about the whole AOC and Jimmy Dore debacle. Like, there's a lot of complexities to that I think that people are missing because they're just yelling at each other for being sectarian, or being part of the wrong section. And I have a nuanced take. Dare I say, everybody's a little bit wrong, and here's why. So yeah, until we get there, take care of yourselves, alright?